There was an old house on the outskirts of town that had been abandoned for years. People say that strange things happen there at night. One day, a group of friends decided to explore the house to see if the rumors were true. As they entered the house, they noticed that the air was thick and musty. The floorboards creaked beneath their feet, and the walls were covered in cobwebs. They made their way through the house, exploring each room with curiosity. Suddenly, they heard a noise coming from upstairs. It sounded like footsteps, slowly getting closer to where they were. The group froze in fear as the footsteps grew louder and louder. Then, all of a sudden, the noise stopped. The group nervously looked at each other, wondering what to do next. Just as they were about to leave,
"Get out!"
they heard a voice in their ear. Terrified, the group ran out of the house as fast as they could. As they looked back, they saw a figure standing in the window, watching them leave. They never went back to that old house again. The sun had set, painting the skies in a deep orange color, and the night was still. It was the perfect time for a paranormal investigator to enter the haunted home. The house had a long and storied past. It had once belonged to a wealthy and powerful family, but tragedy had befallen them. A young daughter of the family had been the victim of a terrible accident and had died in the home. Her death had been shrouded in mystery, and the family had eventually been forced to move away. But the home remained, and soon stories began to spread of strange and eerie occurrences within its walls. Lights would flicker on and off, strange shadows would pass by the windows, and the sound of a young girl's laughter could be heard in the night. The paranormal investigator was determined to get to the bottom of this mystery. He entered the home cautiously, making sure to keep all his senses alert for any sign of paranormal activity. He walked slowly through the dark and dusty house, making his way up the creaking stairs. At the top of the stairs, he was met by a cold draft of air and the smell of something sour. He noticed a single door at the end of the hallway, and as he opened it, he was met with a wave of cold air. Inside the room, he found the remains of the young girl who had died in the home. He looked around the room, searching for any clues that could shed light on the tragedy that had befallen the family. As he looked around, he noticed a small box on the floor. Inside the box, he found a small diary that had been written by the young girl. He read the entries and discovered that the girl had been terrified of something that had been haunting her in the home. The paranormal investigator was now certain that the home was truly haunted, and that the tragedy that had befallen the family was more sinister than he had originally thought. He would have to work quickly if he was to uncover the truth. He continued to search the home, collecting any evidence that could help explain the mystery of the home's former occupants and the tragedies that had befallen it. He was determined to get to the bottom of it, no matter the cost. Jonathan Gantry had never believed in the paranormal. He had always been a skeptic, a man of science and logic. But growing up, he had always been fascinated by the stories of the supernatural. Tales of ghosts and ghouls and the unknown filled his imagination. At college, he studied the history of the occult and its relationship to religion and science. He found himself increasingly drawn to the mysteries of the afterlife and the power of the unknown. He decided to pursue a career in paranormal investigation, and after graduating, he dedicated himself to researching the occult and the paranormal. Since then, Jonathan Gantry has become one of the leading authorities on the paranormal. He has traveled the world, exploring numerous haunted locations and investigating the mysteries of the afterlife. His research has taken him to some of the most haunted and mysterious places in the world, and his theories have been the subject of much debate among paranormal researchers. Jonathan Gantry is now a respected paranormal investigator and consultant, and his work continues to shed light on the unknown and the mysteries of the afterlife. He is passionate about his work and continues to strive to learn more about the hidden world of the paranormal. The paranormal investigator, Jonathan Gantry, was asked to investigate the mysterious death of the youngest member in the Noble family. She had died over 10 years ago, but her soul was still bound to the abandoned home she grew up in. The family desperately wanted to free her spirit and put her to rest. John was a skeptic at first, but as he continued to investigate, he became more and more convinced of the paranormal activity. He knew he needed to use the right tools to break the spiritual chains and purge the house from any hauntings. He began to search for clues to what had caused the girl's death. He spoke to the family and the staff, only to find out that the girl had been acting strange in the days leading to her death. He also noticed that her room was still kept exactly as it had been on the day she passed away. John began to explore the house, looking for any signs of the paranormal. He noticed strange sounds and movements, and even a cold chill in the air. He also started to feel a strange presence with him as he moved through the house. John used all his knowledge of the occult and his tools to uncover the cause of the girl's death. He eventually found out that the girl had made a pact with a demon when she was younger. The demon had promised her eternal youth, but in return, it wanted her soul. The girl had agreed and signed the contract in her own blood. The girl had died shortly after signing the contract, and the demon had taken her soul. John was able to break the contract using his tools and the knowledge of the occult. The house was freed from the hauntings, and the girl's soul was finally free. Jonathan had been a paranormal investigator for nearly a decade, and his reputation was unmatched. He had seen and done it all, from haunted houses to exorcisms of the most dangerous of spirits. He was not one to be easily scared, but that all changed one night when he was visited by the devil himself. The devil had come to him with a proposition, an eternal deal that would grant John power beyond his wildest dreams. But the catch was that he had to give his soul to the devil in exchange. John refused, and the devil, angered by his refusal, began to relentlessly harass him. John had no choice but to stand up to the devil and try to outwit him. He began researching occult lore and trying to find ways to best the devil. He also began to perform exorcisms on the most dangerous of spirits, hoping to build up his power to be able to face the devil. Finally, after months of research and trials, John felt he was ready to face the devil. He summoned the devil to his home and challenged him. The devil accepted, but he was not prepared for the power John had built up. In the end, John was able to outwit the devil and break the eternal deal. The devil was defeated and, in his anger, disappeared, but John knew it was only a matter of time before he returned. He was now prepared to face the devil, but he was also determined to find a way to prevent the devil from ever entering his life again. He was now determined to protect others from the same fate.